It ain't no pretty poetry thing when urban school bells ring and little ones, would-be soldiers, fall lame to the claim that cocaine is life with the little ice too. Ghetto fame, fame, Porsches and planes, fame, dollars and dames, fame. If I had me just a little bit more cocaine. And now my people are rock stars. rock stars, rock stars, rock stars, rock stars. Living high, living far, with a scar on their brain showing their insane pain like Coltrane, Coleman, Hawkins, Charlie Parker. Thus naturally I become the force, the darker stalker, the pimp, the pusher, the streetwalker, waiting for my time to crime. Take back those pyramids that are mine. But first I got to get these wicked hands off my beautiful black behind. You see, I'm tired of this hand-me-down, handout line, and that white powder they be calling white girl just ain't that fine of a line. And it ain't no pretty poetry thing when urban school bells ring and little ones would be soldiers fall lame to the claim that cocaine adds life with a little ice to ghetto fame. Nickels and dimes, and I'm feeling just fine writing these poems of mine. It's nickels and dimes, and I'm feeling just fine writing these poems of mine. It's like nickels and dimes, and I'm feeling just fine writing these poems of mine. Nickels and dimes, I'm feeling just fine. Sort of swerve, Swayze off that wine, and I love it when each and every line rhymes each and every time like, heaven help us all and give me to Texas when I rest to fall. Houston, H-Town, lest there be blue bonnets elsewhere, show me. The Astro City stratosphere, Austin's Hill Country, San Antonio's Alamo, the Gulf of Galveston's Bay, Mexico blue, deep in forever, all that brine, absorbing my time in imaginary trail rides. I love the smell of magnolias. These rhymes, they see the world with me by their side. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. These rhymes, they make noise, see the world with me by their side. St. Louis in the midnight. Out my railroading window is the arch gateway to the west side. The wide, crooked letter river flows. Still I know Texas, it's a little bit of everywhere. Like Farm Road 2234. From Sacramento to Baltimore, home is where the heart is, and I just adore the Lone Star State. Wait, bury me in the silt, just under all that southern comfort, lest there be bluebonnets elsewhere. I love the amber glow of grain fields the seasons yield, reflecting the sunset and absorbing my time in imaginary trail rides. Wow. The beers are here tonight. Give it up for the beers. Red wine. It's red wine. Red wine? Give it up for the red wine. And babies are here. Give it up for the babies. Okay, and Houston Media Source. And last but not least, never not least, earthwire.net. We're glad that you came out. Okay? We're glad. I heard there was like some exit blocked off getting here. And you guys actually said, okay, we're going to get through all that and make it here. So that's cool. All right? So give it up for that. All right? And the Earthwire band that comes out on Sunday nights and right behind the clothes. Okay, I know I am. I'm having great fun. Met a lot of cool people and stuff. Some of my friends are here. And FOE, who else I'm forgetting? Doug Tex. Who else?
Was it something?
You know how us poets are? No. Opie Hendricks is here with Guy Swartz. Yeah, alright. Now I'm not going to bore you anymore with my antics. Alright? We're going to let the band kick some more. We have some poets coming up. And Stacy is around here somewhere. She was the nice young lady. These lights. Alright? But Stacy, you're next. I didn't knew that. But Stacy is next, so you guys give it up for Stacy.
Hey there, guys. All right. Okay. Totally. Okay. All right. This is a poem. This is a poem that I have called Paleface Park. This is for my mom. Okay. This is a serious poem. Okay. It took me several tries to find the road that took me over and around the craggy hills and up at where the buttercups and blue bonnets and Indian paintbrushes turned from black and white to technicolor under your rose-tinted glasses too big for my head. You would point to an old pile of something long since torn down and say, "That's where your Aunt Cindy was born." We drove to the first cove after the second cattle guard, and we took off our bras, but never our bottoms. And there, for the sake of a lineless tan, you hogged the float. And I snuck under the water to tump your 5 minutes of peace over into a fresh soak, for the sake of tradition. I was a dolphin. The fish nibbled my toes. I jumped from the rocks and made you watch me. I swam the length of the English Channel and back again. I played frisbee with this dog and his man. And when that dog's man jumped out of the water to catch my unskilled frisbee toss, I realized that not everyone left their bottoms on. And I was standing face to face with the fully naked man. So by the time my jaw snapped shut again, you were hot enough and tan enough to go. And I was struck with an awareness that turned my tomboy cutoffs into an adolescent tool for attention. I could never find the exact location of that pile of rubble where my Aunt Cindy was born, or glasses with the exact same rose-colored tint that made the sky bluer and the clouds whiter. But the path to that road is burned in my mind, and I go there still with my own little girl, and I jump off those rocks, and I dangle my feet in the warm pernalis, and I look for that man and his dog playing frisbee. Thank you.
Check.
Guys, oh, she didn't want music? Okay, I wondered why y'all weren't playing.
I feel like the president right now. All these microphones, you know, I feel like the president. And I feel like I should say something real profound or something very important or meaningful to you. But right now, I'm going to let David Lejeune take it over. Give it up for David, you guys.
Okay. Well, all I got to say to that is I wish Cool B were president. And it's really an honor to be here because there have been many times through the decades when KPFT has literally saved my life when I was sort of stranded in some cultural and philosophical vacuum in, the burbs somewhere, working at a 7-Eleven or shit. And anyway, it literally saved my life through the years, and kept me sane during Desert Storm and things. So I'm really glad KPFT is in Houston. So for KPFT. Every car lately I see, gas-driven, seems to me, no matter how well designed or beautifully made or of what age, to be some sad antique. Every one an outmoded relic, lovingly preserved at the cost of what evolution could have long ago taken the place, held back instead by those for whom oil concentrates and holds in place wealth and power, locked in as everything gives way, disintegrating before it. Our addiction to mobility, our addiction to comfort, our addiction to convenience, and how they are used to manipulate us. Our need, our greed, our troubles with stillness. Now, while the ice caps melt and climactic changes begin, as we drive these little herds of dinosaurs whose time has already come and gone, who we have let take over so much of our world, it's clear that if there is no miracle of sanity from us, the end of all of this is well and long begun. So many problems come from having one reality. A reality that's real from knowing, no matter what contradictions, that reality is real through operating in that reality enforced, with everything that does not sustain it experienced as intrusion. Each one with its own perfection that would exist if only it were not for some this or that, each with its own transgressive disruption, which this world would be best without. I often wonder, with all conceptions held of what the world would be best without, if there would be anyone left if each of us were granted the elimination of our own exception to a perfect place. There is no one reality that is more real than all the rest. To me, it seems there is no reality at all. That is, in the sense of there being a static standard before which all else falls. As each facet of life makes its appearance, it plays with all the rest. For all the rest do come to play, and wisdom's in there all together. Each moment comes together with all we need to know, if we can look beyond ourselves and our ideas of ourselves. All this energy wasted deciding what is right and wrong and who to praise and blame for both and each could be used to open heart and mind so everything can be its own clear revelation and be what it is in such a way that its message requires no interpretive decision. What I want to do now, with all the energy I use deciding what it is that I don't like and don't want real, is to make mind space to accommodate everything at play in life. A mind with enough room that nothing need give up its place to anything else, in which to see the biggest picture I possibly can. From what I know now, I suspect there are no limits to how vast and open any mind can be, or what can be known in such a mind where all fears are seen and known with liberating accuracy. Thanks. Y'all have a good night. Thanks, guys.
I play it cool, play it cool, play it cool, play it cool, play it cool. How y'all feeling out there? Feeling all right? Feeling all right? Everybody just put your hands in the air, say yeah, do something, make some noise. Yeah, feeling all right. We have another poet coming up. The bands are right in the wing. They're getting their stuff together. They're like doing what they do, like A minor, G minor, getting everything in sync like these guys. All right, but in the meantime, in between time, Beth, you guys, give it up for Beth.
I dreamed these dreams in innocence. I dreamed these dreams in innocence, and now, long after, I keep them long after my tender fingers have unraveled and all my littleness is gone, because my responsibility to innocence persists. The city is shaking again. Gorilla Man watches the people panic. He's chewing a shard of wool and holding his machine gun in the crook of his arm. Streets are emptying, but a few jaded citizens pursue their pre-programmed courses, bitter or apathetic, he can't tell. He has been through innumerable tremors in Latin America, both natural and unnatural, impersonal fissures of earth and shattering dirt spewing cobalt explosions, repeated until at last he learned the secrets of the underground. 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, make crab-like progress in the confusion, screaming, holding on to each other, while all trying to run in different directions. Classmates, probably, nothing to each other in school, but now fused together in terror. An unrecognized impulse stirs the watcher's detached posture. Gorilla Man gathers them all with one gigantic motion and swings them down the subway steps. Here, he grunts at them, down here. Silent and numb, with a last desperate acceptance, they do not resist. At the roots of the quaking earth, sheltered by the danger itself, they will breathe their fears into the shallow air and see the smoke shapes wreathe and change. 2. I was the one that they found. Already they have put me back in school, and everyone says I have been a brave young man. The classroom is dim and noisy. Teacher is talking, but I don't know that she's saying anything to me because I guess I don't know my own name. Children are running between the empty desks, and I don't know why. I just sit still. The chalkboard looks very far away, and all around me is a picture, like a TV show in a storm. All those little sand bubbles swimming around. They said this was my classroom, but I feel like I came from someplace else. I feel like I am too small and afraid of everything. After school, another boy walks beside me. He is ordinary, blonde hair, but very quiet. I think he is looking at me when I am not watching. Near the subway stairs, he stops and tells me his name. He knows that I don't know it, that I have forgotten something. He smiles, and I try to remember who he is. Through my shoes, the ground feels wobbly. It is shaking. No one else seems to feel it. I look at him. He nods and catches a hold of the railing. I am afraid, and he can see it. Pointing to the tunnel, he says, "Let's go down there. It's safe." Darkness is floating up the steps, making me remember shadows and rock and war and guns and gorillas and other shapes I can't see yet. I have to go further. But I must be walking in a dream. It all seems like a story that was told to me and not really mine at all. It is strange to be a child, to have fears dark and unnamed. I don't know what they mean. I remember coming up into the light and very blurry faces. They have brought me straight from the cavern back into school, saying I will make a better adjustment this way. Everyone says I have been a brave young man, but I have no recollection of the wait before the rescue and no recognition of my existence. Even my childhood seems strange to me. The arrangement of the desks in the schoolhouse appears to be hiding a pattern I once knew well.
Good morning, revolution. Good morning, revolution, my friend. Good morning, revolution. Hey, revolution, the boss heard me and you were friends. We've been chumming around, sharing letters and thoughts, revolution. Good morning, revolution. Good morning, revolution. Good morning, revolution. Change, change, change. I change, you change, we change, you change, I change, we change. From light into dark, back into light, back into dark. Born from a spark, I be changing, constantly rearranging the I to become me, myself, and I know you, you know me, cause we be changing, constantly rearranging the I to become me, myself, and I. I know you know me. We be changing. Seba. We have a poet. Has a show on KPFT Fridays. You guys give Seba a round of applause.
Thank you, Colby. I'm just really glad to be here. And the piece that... Yeah, sure. Music is good, as long as I can hear myself. The piece that I'm going to read is actually a journal entry that I wrote about 3 months ago, but it seems even more appropriate today. So it's not new, but it feels very new, feels old also. And here's how it goes. August 6, 2002. When will might stop being right? It is August 2002, and people in Hiroshima and around the world are lighting candles in memory of the more than 90,000 killed 57 years ago. In Baghdad, Iraq, mothers and daughters line up outside government-run stores to collect their ration of sugar and wheat, their daily reality since the US sanctions, which began on August 6, 1990, more than 10 years ago, the 45th anniversary of the Hiroshima bombings. And they stare into the sky apprehensively, dreading the havoc that the new US bombings will bring to their lives. And on that same day in August, in Houston, Texas, my new 27-something neighbors rev the engines of their red SUV at Starbucks, their third visit to a drive-through through this morning. They do not worry about the gas they are wasting or the air they are polluting, for they know that in the US, the government will protect their interests, cheap gas prices, by any means necessary. These are the realities that we face today, if we want to see them. But sometimes I want to dream. I want to dream of a wooden house that we can all build together in the Himalayan mountains of northern Pakistan. I want to dream of a home that will be open to all who seek peace. And whenever a new person joins us, we can build him or her, louder, we can build him or her a new room, for we have space for all who believe in nature and listening and breathing. In our home, there will be a kitchen where we can prepare cauldrons of vegetables and dal, which we will eat together. At night, we will light candles and sit in circles and tell stories to each other. And during the day, what is there that we cannot do? We will go fishing or swimming or hiking or writing or drawing. Or perhaps we will do nothing at all. We will just lie on the grass, our heads resting on one arm, bodies outstretched, and we can watch the eagles soar high over our heads. Sometimes we can close our eyes and listen to the rustling of the fir trees, the twittering of the sparrows, and feel the tickling of the grass on our necks. We can inhale the fragrance of the flowers and know that the peaceful darkness behind our eyelids is of our own choosing, and that when we lift our lashes, the sun and the grass and the trees and the eagles will still be there. And if we want to stay longer, after the sun sets, we can do that as well, and wait for the stars to rain like fireworks. And we can stay there all night and all day through the next morning to enjoy the grass, the mountains, and the silence that we have almost forgotten. But today I know that these images are just dreams, for there are gunshots ringing in northern Pakistan as the search for Mr. Bin Laden continues, and as the targeted airstrikes are the accepted actions of the US Air Force. And I know that soon it will be the Iraqis in Baghdad who will receive more US showers of bombs because Mr. Bush needs his approval ratings back up, and he has learned from his father, who learned from Ronald Reagan, who learned from LBJ, who learned from John F. Kennedy, who learned from Harry Truman that mass killings of other people bring power and popularity to US presidents. And so people weep in Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Colombia, Chile, Nicaragua, Lebanon, Iran, Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, Palestine. And this is only a short list of countries devastated by US bombs and covert operations. And in Houston, my students tell me, what choice do we have? How else would World War II have ended? How else are we to stop the terrorists? And they tell me how, when someone punches them, their moms say, punch them back. And when they watch the US killings through wavy green images via satellite television, they do not think of the mothers, the daughters, the sisters, fathers, brothers, uncles, grandmothers, and grandfathers who die or are crippled for life. For on television they see shiny new fighter planes that swerve and curl in the skies, planes that are flown by sturdy pilots who want to think they are defending honor, but if they look hard and deep, they will admit they are fighting for cheap oil prices, so people like my neighbors can coast around in their SUVs. And I am left wondering, when can our dreams match reality? And when can we build that wooden home in mountains that are peaceful once again? Thank you. It wasn't going through.
Oh, it is. I just want to be able to hear you a little better.
Okay, I could tell. There we go. That's better. This second poem is written for my husband Renee, and I wrote it in my own language, Urdu, but I'm going to read it in English, and you can play to that too. And it was inspired when I was bicycling around Montrose and Southampton. And this was in October 2002. And this is how it goes. For Renee. These flapping flags, what is to become of them? These flags that we see, what is to become of them when we are no longer here? These flags that we see, what is to become of them? When all is burned, what is to become of them? This land in which we live, what is to become of it? What is to become of our hearts? When all is burned, what is to become of the people we love? Today, we will embrace everyone without the land, without the flags. Today, we will love, and we will open our hearts without the flags, without the lands. my land and my flag are inside your heart. You are my partner. You are my land and you are my flag. Today my tongue you lick and you love, and your heart and your land are inside my heart and my tongue. Without these flags we will love each other's tongues and each other's hearts. Burn the flags, burn the land. You are my land and you are my flag. Thank you.
That's 40 minutes, but up
Sasa Sanchez told startling stories of La Migra. And somehow, suddenly, her story started to remind me of Houston's own combat zones like 3rd Ward, South Park, Sunnyside, 4th and 5th Ward too, assuming you can imagine Latinos with smoke in their eyes. Tinted windows trying to hide what they smoke inside as they go riding on what should have been, could have been an Aztec dream of pride. But then again, liberty lied to Leon, a shanty town rooted down by light brown. Some towns would soon call. I can't say that. And I fell flat as they told me that they swam the Rio Grande to clan in this land that would soon send them back by a police whip crack. Another tribe genocide. Can you picture that? And as always, their men were the first to run under cars, under beds, under houses. They fled. La migra, please, please. Oh, no. Somehow, suddenly that sounded like something I had said, eluding through alleys, being chased by lead. No time to panic, or I could be dead. If some redneck cop hit his aim, split my brain all because he thinks what I wear on my chains means that I slang in some cocaine game. From Botswana to Brazil, Addis Ababa, Chiapas, Tiananmen Square, Houston, these startling stories are real. Poets, we can't stop. We won't stop. We won't stop, and we can't stop. Talam. Where's Talam? 'Cause we can't stop, and we won't stop, and we can't stop, and we won't stop, and we just won't stop.
Here is something you can't understand, how your money-hungry leaders could just kill a man. Here is something you can't understand, how your money-hungry leaders could just kill a man. That was the chant yesterday at the Malcolm X Festival when some man in a Marcus Garvey costume tried to sell me a free Huey t-shirt. And in protest, I handcuffed him to a white woman with the Martha Stewart head wrap and dashiki on. And she had the nerve to ask me in Swahili to kick a poem. So I grabbed the microphone and said, check one. So I grabbed the microphone and said, check. One day in 1948, every man, woman, and child in Palestine woke up wondering why the rest of the world was suddenly calling the best parts of their country Israel. But that was too real, so they shut my mic down. The festival was a nonprofit funded by the IMF, and my level of truth brought them way outside of compliance. So I decided to project my voice and become even more defiant. And I said, Amir Baraka once told me, if you want to catch the truth, then you got to follow the money. So here we go, here we go, here it come, here it come, here it come. Which father and son gained the most off of 911? The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was to convince his own people that he wouldn't be willing to kill him for $40 billion. Even though it's well known that the father's CIA illegally financed the amputation of thousands of Angolan children. Even though it's well known that the father's sloppy-ass Gulf War murdered tens of thousands of Iraqi civilians. Even though it's well known that the father's defense investment firm had its initial public offering right after we lost our loved ones in them 2 buildings. But when the poet tells the truth, then the poet becomes the villain. High dosages of reality fuck up your feelings. But since I want change, then even with a gun to my head, my motto remains the same. Until we have truth, how the hell will we ever have true healing? President lies. FBI covers up, media spin the story till you don't give a fuck. If poets only please the crowd, then the masses wax corrupt. La 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 lies. How are y'all doing? You're doing beautiful? I want to share a couple of things with you if that's okay, and then I'm going to go back to my seat over there so I can enjoy the show. Are y'all awake? Y'all up? And she told me that I do not have the right to die because my poetry saves lives. And I said, but miss, Jimi Hendrix said that the only reason people are so upset when you die is because they haven't finished using you yet. And lately I've been having nightmares, so I toss and turn when I walk. And my speech patterns are restless. I become accustomed to wearing a death wish below my eyebrows, and she thinks I'm gifted simply because I've learned to write love poems directly into the language of sex symbols without using the 26 letters of the alphabet. And because I've learned to speak the language of orgasm, she imagines that what my tongue can do to this microphone, my tongue can do for her body. That what my tongue can do to this microphone, my tongue can do for her every fold. But I said, miss, obviously you haven't been paying attention. I'm just an asshole from New Jersey trying to avoid hell like the rest of us. And lately I've been walking up to senior women on the street and telling them that I love you because I'm thinking they may die soon and I'm not sure that they've ever been told before. And I ain't never sold my soul before, but I've been known to tempt evil with nudity and a seductive dance. And I still remember betting the wives of ancient men while their husbands were away on expeditions searching for the ends of rainbows. And what evil is, evil knows. And this that I use is far more ancient than voodoo. I keep telling these poets their spirits at work here. This is beyond mere dues. Pay attention. How the hell could I be afraid to stay black and die when I was born blue? Tell me who would show up to London in the year 2000 with no place to stay and no money, just a head full of poetry and a bag full of CDs? Poet, please. Who else would walk away from 3 degrees to spend his life trying to help save those of strangers and enemies? These imposters ain't never been to the crossroads. It's too easy now. You can sell your soul on the internet. All you need is an email address and PayPal. And somehow I've got scores of poems memorized, and I still feel the pain clogging up my arteries from all the truth that remains trapped inside. And every fucking breath is honest to God. Yet I'm hoping that this will be the first poem that'll finally bring tears to my eyes, because some closet poet here tonight needs to hear me say these things in order to finally gain the courage to get up. That's why the fuck I get down. So I told her she's crazy if she thinks I'm trying to die now. There are people suffering here, and I still got elixirs to figure out. So baby, slow your roll. Because what you imagine my tongue can do to this microphone, my pain can sure as hell do for your soul. So I just have 1.5 more things I want to share with y'all. I flew in from Los Angeles earlier, and I didn't get my little nap, so Hopefully I'm coming across. All right. If you would like to hear more, though, I have a CD and it has a booklet inside with all the words to the poem. So it would be my privilege to sign it if you're interested. It looks like this. It's an hour long. You ready? I can tell where your scars are just by the way you walk. And every assault that you have endured has ensured your every step. And you are blessed regardless of the animals that have attacked you. And you are pure no matter who has abused you. I know an angel when I see one. And when our kingdom come, it will be you, I, and the Son. And we will be one. We will create children, and our children will create us. Then every night by the light of the moon, I will kiss away your scars to Abbey Lincoln tunes, and I will drink perfume that tastes like you out of a vessel with a waist like you. Then I will draw our bathwater warm so we can soak till our souls are reborn. And you will be safe and secure in my arms, and it will always be this way. See, I can tell where your scars are just by the way you smile. And every night I walk a mile in your shoes, kiss away your tears and compile your blues till we choose to get sexy with Robert Johnson and Bessie Smith. And I will lick every bit from your soul's revelation to your pain's exodus. And when there's nothing left to sip, I will massage the tension from your nakedness and then lift you in the most effortless way so you could just slowly ride all your pain away. See, I can tell where your scars are just by the way you moan. And every moment we spend together, I just want your life to just keep getting better. Just want your nights to just keep getting wetter. Never want the trust in our relationship to sever. Want you to just let your mind go till you're ready for handcuffs, candle wax, and blindfolds. I want you to feel me inside of you until time slows and learn to come so hard it'd be like your spine froze. Then lay there asleep with your eyes closed, with a smile on your face until the sunshine shows. See, it will always be like this. And I can tell where your scars are, 'cause I was born to kiss them away. This is the last thing that I'm gonna do. It's about 2 minutes long. And like I said, if you're interested and you wanna hear more, I have a CD. It would be my privilege to sign it. If you can't get it tonight, but you felt something I said, I would still appreciate it if you gave me like a handshake or a hug. Just let me know that I touched you. Hey, you touched me, dog. So you got my handshake, right? All right. So this is the last thing I'm gonna do. You ready? I am an American. I am a buffalo soldier roaming over the plains of Nappy, Maine, spelling curtains for chieftains, searching for reasons to make America love me when ain't no Native American never did shit to me, just took hits for me. You are my equal, you are worthy of my daughter, and ain't no Viet Cong never called me no nigger. And Ida B. Wells be my accountant so I can give a fuck how you figure. I'll be like Malcolm X up in that draft board meeting. I can't tell y'all who I'm gonna shoot once I get my finger wrapped around that trigger. America is an algorithm for the number of its own citizens who can't make it through the day without liquor. Ask Baldwin about Blues for Charlie, but I'm repping the Sun House for that other mister. It's the product of 150 years of white teachers telling little black boys and girls that they'll never amount to nothing. Now I'm collecting college degrees for spite and right to $50 plate dinners on Baltimore Harbor while their descendants are in the kitchen fixing it, suffering. I'm the son of 30 million black women who worked on their hands and knees to keep your great-great-grandpappy's houses clean, and their employer was a barbarian. So why don't you ask them what the fuck sexual harassment mean? But quickly, because my emasculated dad of a bastard to be back as soon as he cop his pack of cigarettes, loaf of bread, and his cherished American dream. I'm beyond beyond sound scan. I want to write the next popular nursery song so I could pay a popular pop singer to infiltrate Sesame Street and sing. I'd rather play chicken with a kamikaze from Japan than to have to put my life in Condoleezza Rice's hands. Clarence Thomas should have told her not to sell her soul to that man. Pop, 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 goes the Negro. This system is evil. I'm talking John Hawkins walking through pools of blood and the bodies of dead black people. The Bush family makes Torquemada seem like Roy Rogers. The New World Order has no equal. In order to meet their objectives, they're willing to cause the deaths of any number of black, brown, or white people. And he's proven that even in America, if you're ruthless enough, you can elect yourself president. But still, y'all would rather kill me, though. But when I'm dead and gone, remember that I was just a radar trying to warn you. But this corrupt system that so many of our brothers and sisters' souls belong to, that there is the fucking torpedo. Thank you.
Man, I don't know if I want to touch this microphone. It's hot. Y'all give it up, man. Give it up. Hey, can I, where is he? I can't see with these lights. He knows when. Hey, can I get a handshake? For real. On the cool, I'm going to be the first to tell you. I love that, man. That was, oh. Right, for real. Man. I be feeling like that sometimes, too. Y'all laugh, I do. I mean, there's this dark side to me. There's this other side. You know, writers always have this other side, and people are intimidated by our other side. You know, I like to read crime novels. Mario Puzo is like one of my favorite authors. You know, The Godfather, The Last Dawn, Morta, you know, all those books, right? It's like the good guy who's faced with bad consequences, trying to do good, but life demands that he does a little bad. Shice. We have another poet coming up, and I'm gonna show you my dark side later, but Shysta. You guys give a nice, round, warm welcome. Yeah. An atomic welcome.
Okay. The first one is called Wandering Words. They all lie in my gypsy bag. They follow me everywhere. Brought back from pilgrims, shards of experiences, salvaged shreds, torn from fading fantasies, fruits of virginal forbidden gardens, bartered, snatched, stolen, squished, swaying with the rhythm. They follow me everywhere. I pull them out occasionally to examine, and they get blown away with the sand specks wandering in the vast deserts of oblivion, and get devoured by the merciless rays of high noon sun. I wish to sprinkle their golden breath on the arid plains to lure the traveling caravans of merry spirits, gods of ceremony, queens of intrigue. But I find their lifeless remains, tangled, half-devoured, abandoned.
Sometimes I play with their pliant bodies among the ruins in the cemetery of chill desires. Unable to change the epitaph, I leave my offerings, ready to be summoned when the echoes return. In the long stretches of blistery roads devoid of nourishment, I suck on their precious nectar in desperation and defeat, and the sweet venom as it seeps and drips coagulates into giant cobwebs of decisions. My paralyzed limbs ache with regrets, perpetually pursued by the ever-lengthening tentacles I escape. But if I could keep them contained in my gypsy bag, I will find a way to design doubtful cloaks of content, fashion flimsy veneer of compromise, string together snug clasps of serenity, and follow the trails of departing caravans. Thank you. This one is called Madness. A steady drip every time I look up. It drills deeper, shaping, sculpting the hard surfaces to merge into steeples and swines, divine creatures and birds which fly away, wandering eternal in fields, prairies. Stark, stormy, empty, occasionally caught suspended and collide with the silver flashes and sink to the frozen lips of serpents, which coil their slithering bodies and cuddle, lulled to sleep and melt in the last crimson glow. I see their dark silhouettes, framed, fading, carried away on icicle adrift, and melt in the rushing, foaming waves crashing to shore endlessly in each blinding thirst, and succumb to the soft, slippery sand, to leave its mark and retreat among the shrieks and echoes that reverberate through me. Okay, I'm gonna read one last one. It's called Lifetime. Thousand candles burn insane. Their dark shadows dance with bruised bodies pushed out of the womb, still startled with awareness. Fingers slippery, vestigial amniotic fluid lingers. Fearful of melting light, grope to seize the heart of flame. Moving the coil threads like rosary beads, touch the memory genetic, branded, and search in growing darkness for the seat of pain. Thanks a lot.
You do?
promised you my darker side, right? My darker side. Soldier Blue is my darker side. Soldier Blue. You guys give a nice, round, warm welcome for Soldier Blue.
You may choose not to hear me. You may choose to sink into your paste and pale skins, but I will not allow you the luxury of forgetting the shapes and shadows of my people, our dreamers, my red earth and her holy drum of songs, a blessing upon our spiritual beliefs and traditional ways. I am a voice, and this is a story, a structure of words to show the pictures of our not-so-dead life, and that the good red fight goes on. But truly, this is a storytelling about Nakai Dokluni, a holy man, a dreamer, a man to inspire hope in his own red earth people. He was a human being familiar with the life of ceremonies and the sacredness thereof. These words will tell you of the shadow pictures that dance in the fire rings and give a piece of life in memoriam to he who walked the desert sands and mountains snow-capped of the Apache, the Coyoteros, the White Mountain Apache people. He was called Nakai Dokluni. He was a healer, a dreamer, a holy man, and this is his dance of life, his song of memory and of his vision. Yes, you may choose not to hear me, and I will still say, I will not allow you non-natives to forget the beginnings of the Red Earth people's pain that still continues. We are still here, we have always been here, and we still fight on. Yea, verily, this is the story of Nakai Dokluni, of the days that led him to that place of walking beyond the stars. He was a healer, a dream singer with a vision he had been given, a dance received in fasting and self-sacrifice from Usen, the named creator of the Apache people, a dance from the beginnings of time. It was born of an act of selflessness and rebirth. He fasted for the time it took to remember it, a ceremony of wood smoke, honey, and sacred pollen. No foods for a fleshly feast, but a spiritual journey, a quest for the most ancient old of voices, of the four sacred winds, to revive and recall the blood and the bone, the fire and the songs of the warriors of long ago. A honey and wood smoke to wrap the flesh once more around their dust-departed bones, a dance for a lifeway, a ceremony to build up a nation, to give strength to a red earth people's hope, a sacred pollen and wood smoke ceremony at a village on Sibicu Creek of the Apache, Coyoteros, the White Mountain people. Whispers swirled and dipped across the prison lands, spreading out in finger shadows to reach the paste and pale, blue-coated soldiers of this dance, this ceremony. The generals then sent their dog-like soldiers and their mercenary scouts, first cousins, native blood warriors, were called out to Sibicu Creek with cease and desist orders on paper. The scouts were there to find the village because, as you know, it takes a Red Earth man to find a Red Earth man. So it was that these dog-like death men and their mercenaries came to Sibique Creek to squash this latest fear their people had, to capture or kill this pollen dreamer, this golden dust bringer, to strangle or to take the breath away of an earth people's hope for spirit survival. Upon arrival, these soldiers with their mercenaries surrounded the village and shouted for the arrest of Nakai Docluni, waving, raging with their paper curses sent by their government who feared just such prayers and ceremonies as this. Non-native thoughts were rolled onto mercenary tongues by the scouts, first cousins to those who lived here on this Sibique Creek, here in the heart and despair of the White Mountain people. For the sake of his people and that so that none should lose their lives, Nakai Docluni agreed to surrender himself. But the people who had but recently seen Yusin's light return in the beauty way of ceremony could not stand aside and watch this happen. A holy man, a dreamer in chains for his faith, for the belief he had in his people's ways. And so, as the blinded, dog-like soldiers of blue-coat justice led him away, the people followed down the valley, down the arroyos, pursuing their spirit life and the stained soldiers. What happened next is only my dream, but I say he must have been singing, praying to Yusin, the Apache-named creator, sending his spirit on high, above himself in a flame of sacred pollen and wood smoke and honey, strong enough to touch the blood, the song of his mercenaries, cousins, breaking through at the last, the blinded minds they had given themselves to be able to do such a thing to one of their own. And with a great cry did these scouts turn on their masters, and a struggle ensued, the scouts now fighting the soldiers, opening themselves spirit-wide to the truth and blood nature of who they truly were, of who Nakai Docluni had always been, screaming out against the chains placed on a holy man, a dreamer screaming in a dreaming of cleansing of their blood sorrow and anguish in the rise of the voices of the four sacred winds. Torn loose from 1,000 ancestral votes, they screamed, "No!" And the people joined the scouts in this struggle for their spirit life, fighting for their dreamer, Nakai Docluni. But even so, he left them, bayonets running him through, his blood upon the sands, his spirit beyond the stars to be welcomed by his ancestors already there upon the ghost road. Wood smoke and honey thick upon his tongue, golden pollen thick in the winds of that desert air. And as meanwhile his people, his relations, the Coyoteros, the White Mountain people, became refugees upon their own reservation or joined other families, once more swept up into the winds of war. No peace, no hope of life without fighting, no sacred pollen, no wood smoke nor honey upon the four winds to breathe and fall upon them as robes of the softest deerskins. Solely and only the hope that their finest war captain, Goyathle Geronimo, would be enough to save them. And so, maybe in the short time of resurgence of walking with the spirit people, perhaps the spirits of the ancestral warriors did return for this last chance at an old lifeway to lend the fires of strength and inspiration to their warrior child, Goyathle Geronimo. And perhaps in that golden hour of evening, you might smell the scent, a thin thread of smoke, ancient old, of sacred pollen, wood smoke, and honey upon the breath of our sacred winds, and hear the whispered name of Nakai Docluni, Nakai Docluni, Nakai Dokluni. I will not give you non-natives the luxury of forgetting what is still here. This is Red Earth.
You guys feeling all right? Right? No, a little louder. Louder, louder. I know Franklin is just right over there. I know why you're staying low. I understand that the police station is just like right over there. But make a little bit more noise, right? There you go. That's what I like. Mike, you ready, Mike? Hey, you're here. You popped up on me quick, man. All right. Mike, give it up for Mike Wilson.
Hi. This is going to be a little funnier than the last couple of ones, I think. If I can get this to work. Let me set it up. Seb and I have a show on Fridays on KPFT, and we bring on artists. So you poets are dynamic, and if you haven't been on the radio yet and you think that'll be fun, then contact me or Seba Sawar, or call KPFT and leave us your number. And we'll get you on the radio Fridays, first and third Fridays at noon to 1. Hey, and it's called Living Art. So we want everybody on, and especially the people who aren't paid by Continental Airlines or Exxon, whatever. So it's all about community poetry and stuff. No bullshit, I promise you. And VBB is a great organization, and we give poets a chance to read and stuff, and you need to come out and do the open mic or whatever, So anyway, get involved with KPFT. It's a community radio station. We need good people on the lab. There'll be an election in 3 months. We need young voices on KPFT. We need young people plugging in. It's the only station like it. You won't find anything else on the band. Nothing on television, which is sort of like my poem. I woke up this morning. I watched a movie with a stepkid and my kid last night, a Disney movie. And I woke up after a dream about 6:30, and I dreamed of a really, really tall sheep, taller than me. And it was behind me, and he had the face of a rodent, like a possum or something like that. And then I wrote this poem. You have to hear this first. Cracker hijacking. What do you get when you want something sweet and it comes in a box attached to a cable and you gotta have it now? Lip smacking, whip cracking, patty whacking, knick-a-knacking, syllable whacking, scallywhacking, cracker jacking. Goodness gracious. Taste TV. What do you get when you shotgun all 77 channels of refined vanilla icing? Squeeze through a black tool pulled off a spool, snaking back into your wall sheetrock. Through studs out your cheesy siding, hijacked by the ground, disappears beyond the yard, gone beyond community. What I get on a Friday night late 2002, A Bug's Life, Derrida, and electrolytes. Fare for fatty pizza eaters. Here's your story. A rebel ant dethrones the ugly bug tyrant, marries the princess. Millions of worker drones cheer him. The credits roll. Disney kids kick with glee, while on the other side of the planet, lips smacking with dehydration, whip cracking slaves, patty whacking wagons, oligarchy oligarchies, info lacking. Yes, info lacking. Oligarching, Allah hating, cracker jacking, jacking with you. The piss ant wins and the story ends. History never begins where the credit rolls. The credit card flows into polluted villages where plastic dies, plastic dies, plastic dies. Pour from the Toys R Us store, factories, stories. Plug a cable into the life of the mind. You better mind.
What do you want when you gotta eat something? And it's gotta be sweet, and it's gotta be hot, and you gotta have it now. What do you want? Rackin' whip, rackin' patty, rackin' chicken, rackin' stupid, rackin' scalpel, rackin' cracker jackin', cracker jack. Candy coated popcorn, peanuts and a fries. That's what you get in Cracker Jack.
There you go. KPFT and VBB. Get on the radio, bring us your poems. Bye. And thanks, M. Martin and Earthwire and Mike McGuire and all the great people over there. Thanks for doing this for us. Appreciate it.
Me again. Hey, yeah, again. Hey, Mike, I'm glad that, like, you kept the mic at the same height, because, like, sometimes it goes up and down, and I want to keep it there, but, like, short people, I like short people. They're cool. Short people are cool. I really like short people, really. I just think they should have their own little territory somewhere and just live, yeah. Because I'm tall, and I like heavy people, because heavy people are cool, they're cool, but I just think heavy people should have their own little space somewhere, and I love people who eat ice cream, I hate ice cream. So the people that eat ice cream, I have nothing against you, but you should just have your own little place somewhere, not next to us. Well, then you should live, if you're short and you eat ice cream, then you should live somewhere on the other side of the universe, the X-ray band or somewhere, right? That's what I think. Okay, and if you like to hang out and do nothing, if you're one of those do nothing people, say nothing people, don't stand up for your rights type people, just one of those mushy type of nothing kind of people, I don't dislike you. I like you, really, I do. I just think that you should have your own little place somewhere over there. So, okay. But anyway, you guys feeling all right? Feeling all right? Okay, I'm feeling all right now. We have FOE. You know what FOE stands for? Wow. Say it louder if you really like them. Oh, man, you guys brought the crew, man. Friends of the Enemy. They're up next. They're known as FOE. That's what we know them as in the hood. You know what I'm saying? See what happens when we come? Rap music again. No. All that noise, and it was cool when the poets were there. Okay. But anyway, you're gonna like FOE, so stick around, you know, and enjoy the place and check it out. And I'll be back.
Is this my ranking? Woo! Hello.
Hola, friends of the enemy.
Not lemon enemy, not friends with the enemy.
Not your enemy's friend.
Not the friend
Please
of
do
a
not
friend.
get confused with that
He's a
band.
friend of the enemy. We got some time to kill. I think everybody's setting up a little bit. Hey man, I got poetry too, man. What can I say? Some poetry. Can I say some poetry, man?
You can
I'm gonna say some poetry.
Say some
right
poetry,
here,
Mike.
cause I wrote some poetry. I lost my page. Can I smoke some sage? I'm in a rage. I'm trapped in the cage despite my rage.
Here comes the
Like
poetry.
a iron butterfly with bullet wings. And I think that if drunkenness was poetry, then this poetry will be claps, fizz, drink. And I take a sip, and then I take a long trip, because that's me, that's what I do, that's what we do, and that is it. This is about the greatest love of my life, and if you, I beg your indulgence, just let me go. This one's called Deja Voodoo.
Let him go. Come on, Mike.
I think
Come on, Mike.
I was there once in a dream because the scene seemed familiar. And earlier that day, I heard her say what's the same as yesterday. In a haze between wake and sleep, she sat and leaned back like that, heavy on the left and that steady on the right, as I write, as I always write. When she leaned in and kissed me with her hat high, and I responded with a bump, thumping inside. Boom, back, boom, back, do that. Bump, thumping on the inside. My deja voodoo queen would soon leave me, but between those notes left on the bar, boom, that, boom, that, boom, that. Through the hard, and though hard was where I danced. I danced behind the one. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, behind the one, and I knew there was another chance. Ahead of the one, and still another chance. Boom, back, boom, back, boom, back. And that's true romance. That's my love.
Everybody give a round of applause. Round of applause. That's too close. That's too close. I gotta hold it by right here.
Yo,
Okay.
y'all ready to get rowdy?
Okay, Benito Gomez.
It's been kind of quiet in here for a minute. I liked it and everything, but it's been kind of quiet. It's not gonna be quiet no more. I hope everybody's prepared for that.
We'll see what we can do about that. We'll try our best.
Chris,
I just saw a bear fly across the stage.
Chris,
On some wires and some notebooks.
Chris, I need some Amazing Grace right now, man. Here we go. You can't kill me. I will not die. Not now. Not ever. No, never. I'm gonna live a long damn time. My soul lives on forever. The time has come. We will not wait. We'll storm the gate and go. Fuck it up.
come on. George W. He wants me to fight in his damn old war. Well, let's go at them John that's strong. What are we fighting for? You can't kill me. I will not die. Not now. Not ever. No, never. I'm gonna live a long, long time. My soul lives on forever. See if I can dance without moving my feet. I stand alone out on the road. I know my flesh will rot. But you're with me, and your friend will not be forgot. You can't kill me. I will not die. Not now, not ever, no never. I'm gonna live a long, long time. My soul lives on Talk to him, Mark. Come on. You know what, Benjamin? I hear a lot of talk about taking people out. First they want to take out Osama. I heard that too. Then they want to take out Saddam. I heard that too. And I tell you one more motherfucking thing, Benjamin. If you don't agree with that, they want to take you out too, man. But I got something to tell them. What you got? I got some news for these motherfuckers. What kind of news you got? You can't take me out. You can't take me out. You're never gonna take me out. I'm not going anywhere. You can't take me out. Now, I know everybody heard the chorus a couple of times. It's real easy. And what I want all y'all to do right now is try to sing along. We're gonna take it down. Y'all quiet it down just a notch. Bring it down just a notch.
Y'all are smart enough. You're good enough.
You can't kill me. I will not die. Not now. Not ever. No, never. Well, I'm gonna live a long, long time. My soul lives on forever. Rock it out, y'all. Come on. One more time. You can't kill me. I will not die. Not now. Not ever. No, never. I'm gonna live a long, long time. My soul lives on forever. Yeah. Cuss words are flying.
And we're from Texas.
Cuss words flying all over the place.
What's the next
Rick's
song?
gotta mess with mine. I think it's a little bit less.
Juice.
Okay, we'll do that one.
There should be enough on there. What's taking up the space?
Oh, you guys know.
What's our greatest
Unplug
hit
them amps,
set?
or not the amps, but the top one, or
KPFT.
Yeah.
Okay.
1, 2, 1, 2. Don't burn yourself.
I'm ready when you're
Appreciate it. I'm ready. Yeah. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Give me some spoken word.
Spoken word, there's a beer poured over. All right. And it's got shit dripping all over the stage. I'm sorry, I can't do spoken word for worth a fuck. I'm just gonna try my best. What we got now?
All right.
Penny? Little penny?
Penny, man.
You got a penny? How many people in here got pennies in their pocket?
Who got a penny?
We want all those pennies
Who
for
needs a
yourself.
penny? Anybody need some change?
I could use about 100 million
I
of
could
them.
use some change.
There we go. Here we go, Mark. A penny for your thoughts, a penny for your dreams, a penny for you to tell me what it all means. A penny for your thoughts, a penny for your dreams, a penny for you to tell me what it all means. A penny for your rights, a prison for your schemes, patented ideas while it's buzzing at the seams. Make your investments before the alarm clock wakes you up. Dance the educated, let the elevator take you up. Some love, the finest of our new products. See for yourself, these to tell me what it all means. Penny for your thought, a penny for your dream, a penny for you to tell me what it all means. A penny for your thought, a penny for your dream, a penny for you to tell me what it all means. Well, what does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? Someone tell me what it means. What does it mean? 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 Just a penny. If you want to sell out for a penny, you're a high price hooker.
Everybody all right? We're not too rowdy or nothing, are we? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Y'all can stand up. Shit, there's a whole platform right here too, man. There's a whole platform. Anybody wants to stand up right there, you know what I'm saying? No, I don't want you to go over there, Mike. Stay where you are, man. SOS. Dude, go. Is that what? Woo! Hey.
Same old song going on till you're gone. It's the same old song. It's the same old song. Laughing at the line, give it to the sky. The daily creativity is happening outside. What happened to our purpose? On the way out the door, there's on the ranks of the weightless. Maintaining that thing for the pressure. My eyes cannot lie with my body while you witness. Confession to it all, but I'm talking to a ring wall. Like, oh, and here we are, these walls, we look around, city after city, it's the same old town. Come Saturday night, what we looking for the heart of it, separate us, but we're really all a part of it. When did it stop making sense? When did it stop to the right? Was it a pleasure that occurred? The words overnight, it's the same old song, just don't sound right. Same old song, going on till you're gone. It's the same old song, it's the same old song. F.O.E. break it down. Two-Fists, come on, give it up for Two-Fists. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. All right. All right. Woo.
Yeah. That was kind of the same old song. This next one is about I don't know, I feel like we're all very different people, but I feel like I can speak for everybody on this one. Anyway, as I was saying, I kind of feel like I can speak for the whole crew on this one when I say that this next song is this guy's a personal idol of all of us. If we could be just a little bit more like him each and every day, we'd be well on our way to being just great human beings. And
Who is that,
want to
Mark?
share it with you.
Hey, Mark, who are you talking about?
Who do you think I'm talking about, man?
Somebody
Who do y'all
knows.
think I'm talking about?
Oh, I know. I was just saying if I could provoke the audience to somebody.
Let's do it, man. Let's give him some music.
Michael Dudikoff, man.
Yeah, man. He's a champion of human rights and many other things. He loves kids. He loves kids. He loves to beat out Sassoon, hair bows.
He embodies what anti-war is about.
Let's tell him. Let's tell him.
It's like
Because he prevents it, like he'll stop it with his ninja sword before the war even starts.
there's no
All you need is
I
him.
have no words for it. I mean,
Instead of
guys,
dropping bombs on Afghanistan, you just send Dudikoff. He'll go up there, American thank you. He'll come up there with his ninja sword and his fucking shurikens, dude, and his fucking nunchucks. Whatever he's got, he'll fuck him up. Big time. So here we go. This is our dedication to him. The fuck, man? Everybody, come on, act like you're excited at least. At least.
Fuck yeah, Dudikoff. I think he's here, actually. He's like in the corner. He was there when we played the last concert. He was in the trees, blowing bamboo fucking needles at people. Like a fucking ninja. He was. Hey, you damn right. I emailed him. Big time. I emailed him big time. He's here.
Dudikoff for me, bachelor party. Dudikoff the only American ninja I know. When Dudikoff trains for prisoners of Vietnam, y'all. And Dudikoff hang on a helicopter with one hand. Dudikoff learned to shoot arrows when he was 6. Dudikoff get the chick in the end of the movie, yeah. Dudikoff does the training in the montage. And I bet you Dudikoff can even flip over Dodge. Dudikoff is a positive role model. Dudikoff don't take shit from any man. Why? Dudikoff, 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 Dudikoff. Y'all know about that. Killing ninjas, send them to the jungle with prisoners. But Dudikoff won't get injured, cause he's Dudikoff. He's drug free. If he die, he gets snatched, he's a guy to see. He's got such a great haircut, keeps it through all of his movies. He's so lean and good. If you interrupt, you got to call on Dudikoff. Oh, I'm talking about Dudikoff. I'm talking about Dudikoff. I'm talking about Dudikoff. Who I'm talking about? Dudikoff, 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 I do that, do that. The chips are down. Around. Who you gonna call? Dudikoff. When the chips are down, no one else is around. Who you gonna call? Dudikoff. Beware, Black Star Ninja. He walks the evil path, so he must die. So he must die. Beware, Black Star Ninja. He walks the evil path, so he must die. So he must die. Why he must die? Dudikoff, 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 do that. Come on, do that. Woo. All right.
It kind of sounds like Dudikoff, I guess if you really think about it. Hey, how much longer, Mark?
All right. We had a little problem with one of the cymbals on the drum kit, but Lauren's so hardcore, she's gonna play without it. She don't need. You gotta stand. You gotta stand. I didn't think you brought your stands, man. You think you brought your stand?
Okay, apparently we got 10 minutes max left. So let's
Okay.
choose these next few songs very pro. Hey, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do Maiden right now. Okay, Mike and Mark are not happy.
All right. We got 10 minutes left. That's probably about 2 songs. All right.
We got it to Maiden, dude. Mark, get on your bass, dude. There it is. You fucking right. Oh, all right. What are we playing? What are we playing? Robot Samurai. Yes.
Defending their culture with the quickness of their sword.
Yeah.
Could it be? Let's try to do could it be.
What do we do now?
We got tons, man. What do you want to do?
Zydeco. Let's take them out, Zydeco style. Let's take them out, Zydeco style. That's about all we got time for. Let's take them out, Zydeco style. Huh? What, you call me stupid, Mike? Yeah, you did. You looked over me and said
Alright.
stupid. You even said it on the mic. It sounded like private.
I didn't call you stupid. I said this is
Okay, well, fuck it. I got my way. That's what the fuck we're doing. Maybe not, because Mark's got a mic, so I don't think we're doing that song. What are we doing?
All right.
could it be? It could it be? It could it be that the answer's nowhere out there? It could it be? It could it be? I think it is, but I think we need to steer clear. It could it be? It could it be? It could it be that the answer's nowhere out there? It could it be? It could it be? I think it is, but I think we need to stop here. This is the pot-belly chef burning bacon. What's cooking? Like a fat boy snatching your bacon when no one's looking. See the socialites salivating, selling their souls to Satan. Waiting for the light to hit, but no one gives a shit. Looking for the path of least resistance. I spit with persistence to provide less friction for your way. Like a water slide, I can't decide on jeans or the sneakers or the khakis or the floor. Using the whole can of starch. March on like millions of men telling their friends and tell their friends about the latest.
All right, freestyle session. You said we had 10 minutes, dog. Everyone wanted to go, dog. Okay, he's going to it. Now here's the deal. We're wrapping up one beer right now. Just one beer. Right? You know what I'm saying? So if you guys can support me, like if somebody picks this number and everybody can give like a quarter because it's only $2 a set. It's a legal game or not? Yeah, it is.
Will be, is that a communion beer?
Yeah, actually it is.
Or is that communicable beer?
You see, we put a little plastic over the top. That was a little
Wipe and
one.
sip, brother. Wipe and sip.
Okay, now here's the deal. I'm gonna pick a number. Who should I tell the number to? Me. Oh, who said me? Where's me? Come here, me. Come over here. Give it up for me. Who said me? All right, and in the meantime, we're gonna work the power out. As soon as the power comes on, this backtrack is right? At least one of them, unplug one of our projectors. They're all the same. Okay, a number from 1 to 20. Now, just wait. Like I tell my students, don't randomly, like, don't do that, because I get all, like, weirded out. Poets don't like that, all right? Okay, so here's how we're going to handle this. So then I'll come like that. Like, who's what and who said 19 and 3? It's probably like an auction. Do we have? All right, so here's how we're going to handle this. All right?
Check.